Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it just like the sunrise. We gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it rain tonight. We gonna let it rain just like the sunrise. We gonna let it rain.
Hey guys, welcome in. Welcome in. How's everybody doing today? How are we doing today? It is hump day. It's the 27th. I have my little blocks here on the wrong date, but now I'll look at that. Now I'm on to the 27th. Here I am. But welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. My name is Tanya, or Titanium Built. Nice to meet you if you're new to the channel. If you are new, let us know you're new. Also, before we get started, and I forget to tell you, I want to upload something on Patreon this week. I'm not sure which case I'm going to put over there, but I'll let you guys know as soon as it's on there. So it'll be like a new episode of something. Maybe it'll be like a new case that we're going to cover. It might be something like that. So there'll be something over there this week, because I want to try to at least put something over there like every week for you guys. But today we're going to talk about Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho 4. So welcome in, everyone. Hey, Cassie. Hey, Mary Beth. I hope your interview's going well. Hey, Kira. We've got BKC. Who else is in here? I saw some more people. I just can't remember who I saw. I saw Catherine was in here. Willows was in here. Well, welcome in, everybody. Hey, Oopsie. It's good to see ya. Well, welcome in, everybody, and everybody that's watching. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys do appreciate the content, I hope you guys will consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the like button. It does help the smaller channels grow. So it is in your hands. So there were some new documents that came out in Idaho. I thought we'd go over those, and then there was 2 Cellbrite experts that went and talked to Brian Enton, and I never got to go over that with you guys. And I was really interested in hearing what else they had to say. I got to listen into like a little bits of pieces here and there. So I wanted to hear like the full interview. So I thought we would go over that and just kind of see what's going on. So basically, the state of Idaho came out with the state's response, the defense response to regarding the sealed documents. And then the order, the court came out with an order on it, but don't get too excited because it's not an order yet. Spoiler alert. But we'll go through these here. And if I'm super shiny, it's just because I put on skincare. I just noticed that I look a little shiny today. I'm going to go to the pool after this. So it's supposed to be like, it's only going to get up to 73 today. So at the peak of the day, it'll be 73. So I was like, that's when I'll go out and I'll lay in the sun for a little bit. So we'll go ahead and read through these documents. This one's going to be for the defense. That's why it's in blue. It's the defense's response to the court order regarding sealed documents. So basically, they just have a list and they put, like, if they don't mind that it's put out there or if they do mind that it's put out there. Some of the stuff we're not going to know. Like, it's going to say, exhibit 1 or, something like that. So we may not know exactly what they're talking about, but I do want to read them for you guys. So you guys will know. And then we will be getting an order on all of these in the coming days. So whenever Judge Stephen Hippler decides to give us, one. I think I'm going to take a nap outside today. Hey, Larry. I might just do that, actually. It sounds like a good time. So, it says now comes, and I couldn't even believe it. I couldn't believe I was going to actually read these words, like now comes Bryan Kohberger, vying through his attorneys of record, and hereby submits his response to the court's order regarding sealed documents dated August 4th, 2025. The defense objection/no objections are listed under each item below. So 7/24/25 states exhibits S1 5 through 7, sentencing hearing, which includes photographs of each of the deceased victims and a photograph of the 6 victims together. They have no objection to unsealing that. That's when they were, I think people were confused at first about that. They thought that it was going to be like crime scene photos. It was when Thompson put up a picture of each of the victims. And then he put up, I don't know if it was before or after, but then he put up the picture of all of the victims together and the 2 survivors that day that, the day before everything happened. So that's what that picture is. So order modifying / amending no contact order. The defense has no objection to unsealing with redactions of anticipated witness names, address, and personal identifying information. Okay. Opposition to motion to vacate non-dissemination order. The defense has no objection to unsealing that. Sealed exhibit S1 to state's response to defendant's 24th supplemental request for discovery. The defense has no objection to unsealing with anticipated witness names being redacted. There is continued media attention, including social media and online sleuths and public harassment reasons. What are we going to do to Bryan Kohberger in jail? What am I going to do to Bryan Kohberger in jail? If you let me see these, nothing. Online media reflects continued attention and comments that may be offensive and harassing and impact safety and livelihood of persons named. Well, we know that's the person's named probably is Bryan Kohberger if the defense is saying something about it. So the sheriff's return regarding witness KSF. The defense has no objection, and it says with redaction, they want the redaction of the names, addresses, and all personal identifying information. Okay, well, guilty plea advisory form completed by defendant. The defense has no objection to unsealing. Okay, then the second notice of filing defendant's additional objections to the jury questionnaire. So the jury questionnaire that they sent out. The defense objects based on the language of ICR 32G8. All renditions of the jury questionnaire are sealed and not for circulation. Portions of the questionnaire contain sensitive information relating to mental health, and other portions contain potential witness information. The defense submits that the ICR, they read out what rules relating to this case and keeping names protected will prevent harm, harassment, and sensitive information from becoming media fodder. Well, yeah, we don't need to know their names. Even though this pleading does not contain the information, the defense suggests that all parts of the questionnaire be treated the same. Okay. So then the sheriff's return concerning witness TAD. I don't know who these witnesses are. They might be police. I'm not sure. So the defense has no objection to unsealing with redaction of all personal identifying information. Okay. They want the names redacted, addresses redacted. And then it says the sealed order on defendant's offer of proof of the alternate perpetrators, unredacted. I would love that. And we're not, this is what the defense has to say. There is continued media attention, including social media and online sleuths and public harassment reasons. Who are we going to harass? Bryan Kohberger? I mean, really, I'm not going to harass anybody. So it says the public copy contains all pertinent information, but withholds the names and is appropriate. Well, we'll see that. We'll see about that. The exhibit for the says sealed exhibit to defendant's 24 supplement request for discovery. They just want names redacted. No, it says, there is continued media attention. Online media reflects continued attention and comments may be offensive or harassing and impact safety and livelihood of persons named. So then state's amended notice of compliance and motion to seal state's amended witness list. They just want the names redacted. Harassment, online sleuths. So the defense doesn't have any objection to unsealing the court minutes. The defense has no objection to the state's motion to seal ex parte filings out-of-state witnesses. They have no objection in unsealing the exhibit S1B to state supplemental response. This will be for expert testimony. The defense has no objection. Expert testimony again, no objection unsealing. Then they have a sheriff's return concerning witness YR. They just want it redacted with the names, addresses redacted, personal identifying information, all redacted. Hey, Zoe. Welcome in. Hey, Ashley. Welcome in, everyone. I was really reading this. Hey, Kara. I was really going to town on this document. So the defendants reply in support of motion for access. No objection. The defendants reply to state's objection to defendant's offer of proof, alternate perpetrators, and defense evidence in support of offer of proof. So yeah, I want to know that. But it says here that online harassment has been going on, and it might impact the safety of and livelihood of persons named. Now, who would be the persons named? We're not going to go after anybody that you named. If you named Jack Decor or whatever in this, and you're like, Jack did it, no one's going after him. I wouldn't think. I mean, actually, let me redact that. Retract that, I mean, because there are people that probably would. So then we have these states, and the same thing with the state's motion to amend witness list and supplement expert disclosure. Just says there's continued media attention, including, social media and online sleuths and public harassment reasons. Notice of filing, sealed, defendants amended, exhibit chart. They said they have no reason to object. No objection to unsealing. The same with the orders. The order sealing state's response to defendant's motion on the special investigation. And then order granting defendant's motion access and object to court's order. No objection. Motion to seal state's response to defendant's motion, the special investigation, no objection. Another special investigation, no objection. Defendant's objection to release of privileged and confidential work product, no objection. Defendant's motion for access and fair investigation, no objection. These are because it's the defendants. These are the defendant's motions. So motion to seal defendant's motion for access, no. They don't care about those because that's their stuff. Witness list, defendant's second amended phase 2 mitigation witness list. public harassment. It doesn't say that. It just says that it's public harassment. So I don't know what I don't know what the court will say about those ones. We'll see. Order staying order, no objection. Order sealing defendant's motion and order for emergency order, no objection. Order conditionally denying admission of additional exhibits as evidence at trial, no objection. Order granting defense expert analysis of evidence. Same about, it says the defense objects to unredacted release and to redact the expert's name and address. Same with the next one. Motion for emergency order, no objection. Motion to seal defendant's motion and order for emergency order, no objection. Start this lot. Stipulated motion for the admission of additional exhibits. Okay, you guys get the point. I'm just going to kind of go through these because there's nothing in here that's like, we know what that is. You know what I mean? Like I could go through, I could go back and like pair these up with the, defendant's 23rd supplemental request and see what it said in there, but it's probably going to say seal it. You know what I mean? It was probably one of those like state seal or defense seal, the state didn't object and then the court sealed it. The same with the states. So on the states, though, I will read up here. So we'll read the first couple paragraphs up here, but this down here is all going to be the same. Like it's just what they, want to be redacted and sealed. So, and we'll find out more whenever the judge makes his decision on it. But it just says here that as a general matter, beginning early in the investigation, a number of individuals associated with this case were identified, then subsequently harassed, stalked, and threatened by members of the public. The majority of the threatening behavior occurred via various social media platforms. Ain't that the truth? There are also documented instances of identified individuals being physically followed and surveilled related to this case. Oh, I know that. I know who that was. There's also one instance of physical trespass of property and one instance of property damage. And vandalism. Okay. Due to this harassment, stalking, and threatening behavior, previously identified individuals have had to take extraordinary actions such as filing police reports, moving residences, hiring private security guards, hiring media consultants to track online harassment, and so forth. We are also aware of an individual who was inaccurately named as a suspect by a member of the public and then subjected to online harassment. I'll probably say that was hoodie guy, Jack. In one instance, the harassment was such to a degree it led up to a defamation suit. Yeah, TikToker lady. See Schofield versus Gilliard. Oh my gosh, there's like I know this one. I could tell you about this one. So basically, there was a TikToker. Her name was Ashley Gilliard. Ashley is God was her name on the old TikTok, but she's not on there anymore. I looked her up not too long ago, still not on there. She came out, so she was a tarot card reader. We saw her with tarot cards maybe once. She said that Kaylee was in a lesbian love triangle with, I think her name was Rebecca Schofield. And she was a professor at the University of Idaho, which she had no connection to Kaylee at all. And she said that Jack DeCore killed Kaylee because Rebecca Schofield told him to. And she went to court. I mean, it's still going on. It's crazy. And she would not go off of it. She kept saying, nope, that's true. Nope, it's true. That's what happened. Crazy. Hey, Micro Kimmy. Oh, yeah, be careful driving. Yeah, you too, Ashley. Hey, Sheree, welcome in. So, based on the above, the release of full names and contact information, which would identify potential lay witnesses, could subject these individuals to similar harassment as described. Releasing potential lay witnesses' names and or addresses could constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy as provided by Idaho Code. And he gives the Idaho code. It says the state moves that any potential lay witnesses listed in any court documents should be redacted and pursuant to ICR 32, that any personal data identifiers also be redacted. Okay. So, I mean, they're kind of agreeing with this, with the prosecutor or the defense. So I think that they will end up redacting those things, some of those things, or just keeping them redacted, in other words. And then this just says order regarding the, redaction. Basically, it says the best balance these articulated concerns against the public interest and access to information. The court requests additional information with regards to each witness whose name and identifying information the parties would like redacted. So he wants the witness's role in the case, whether the witness's name is already publicly known, like through media exposure or the release of other records, such as police reports, and whether the witness has been subjected to threats and or harassment, and if so, the nature. And then following the submission of this material, which is filed under seal, the court will review and the information and either issue a written order or set matter a hearing. So that's what we do have for that. And that came out yesterday from Judge Hippler, or very early this morning. So it says the 26th, but it could have came out early this morning. So we'll have to just kind of keep our eye out and see what happens and be like, you never know. I think they'll probably keep a lot of it redacted personally. Okay. So I think it's right here where he starts to talk to them. We'll go back a little bit right here. Okay. So this is Brian Enton, of course. You guys may have seen this. I haven't got to see all of it yet, and I thought it was pretty interesting what I did get to see. And I thought we would just kind of talk through it. But it's basically the two Cellbrite expert witnesses that were going to come on, and they were going to testify about what was found on Brian's laptop, his phone. They did the deep dives, they got all the stuff that he was searching for and all the things. So, and I mean, a lot of it, he was scrubbing dubbing, but and he was using a VPN, but they did get some things. So, I mean, that's saying a lot. So I'll pause it here and there for commentary. I'll throw the video link in the chat as well. And thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it so much. If you guys don't mind just taking a second, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to. We are here daily talking true crime. I will probably only be on for this afternoon. I don't think I'll be on tonight. I'm not sure though. It's a possibility. It's a possibility, but I might take tonight off because I have a couple errands to run. So we'll see.
For you in this edition of Bryan Enton Investigates. Heather and Jared, thank you guys so much for talking with me. I really appreciate it. I've been wondering about the phone and the laptop for a long time. Obviously, there's been the gag order and so much has been under seal, but we knew that they had Bryan Kohberger's phone and we knew that they had his laptop. And come to find out, both of you have been the ones sort of going through both of those devices sort of in secret from the public for all this time. How did you get involved? If you can kind of go back to the beginning.
Sure. In March of 2023, the FBI reached out and asked essentially if I would be willing to come in and just be another set of eyes on the data that they were looking at. When you see his phone and his hard drive, there are huge gaps and things that just don't make sense, not normal behavior. So I think it kind of threw them through a loop. And I brought Jared in with me. So the two of us started working directly with them and just having conversations on what have you seen? What else is there?
So is it basically, and forgive me if my questions are kind of like stupid. I just don't know how this works. Like, do you go to the FBI and they literally hand you the phone? Or is it like they send you a bunch of files that they found on the phone? How does it actually work?
You want to take that?
Sure. So we didn't actually touch the physical phone itself. They had already extracted the data from the phone and sort of made a copy of the hard drive for the laptop. And so we were just working with a copy of the evidence. And so if you think of all the data that's stored on your phone, when it gets extracted, it kind of gets pulled out into a zip file. And then we use software like Cellbrite software to take that zip file and put it on your screen into categories with parsed data, decoded data, so that you can see it and work with it.
Did you both work on the cell phone and the laptop, or did you kind of divide and conquer?
Yeah, we both started on the phone, and then I kind of took over on the hard drive, but it was a constant back and forth because he was logged in to Chrome with the same profile. So just communicating on, I see this, do you see this? Does the timeline make sense? Where are the gaps? He cleared more on his laptop than he did on his phone. So just constant communication back and forth is how we kind of approach this.
Yeah, I mostly just worked on the phone. I didn't do anything on the hard drive.
So what did you first notice on the phone?
Well, I think the brief sort of when we showed up, the brief was, we've looked at the data. So the FBI folks had already looked at the data, and they came to us with, there's a gap in time that we see in his cellular records from this minute, in the middle of the night until this minute in the middle of the night. And so our focus was looking at that period of time, and then also looking for any connection to the victims, because that was something that they hadn't achieved yet either.
And when you talk about that gap in time, is that the time when we know that he apparently turned off the phone?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what were you able to figure out? I mean, was there anything that you could figure out during that time, or was it just sort of a dead zone because the phone was off?
Well, we figured out it was intentionally turned off, and that his phone was at 100% battery power, and that it was a manual power down. So that's a big thing. If your battery dies, it doesn't mean you went out and committed a murder. But the fact that you turned off Wi-Fi, manually turned off your phone was charged at 100%, that you never turn off your phone every single day. I shouldn't say never.
Wow, because we had heard that before on the Dateline episode, but we heard that his phone was at like 92, I thought, %. And these guys are saying 100%. Like, I think my phone's almost at 100%. Let me see. It's at 96%. So that would be like me turning off my phone turning off my Wi-Fi and then turning off my phone. Like, he turned off his Wi-Fi before he turned off his phone. That says something, Like, he didn't want to ping on any, I don't know. I don't even know if that would be necessarily pinging on a tower. Maybe he didn't want to get picked up by anyone's house Wi-Fi. Right? That's what I would think.
It's not normal behavior for Bryan Kohberger to turn off his phone. He had done it a few times, but it's not like, Bryan, if you every single day, your best practice is before bed, you turn off your phone and you turn it on every morning. You would be able to look at your pattern and say, this is normal for Bryan. This is not normal. For Bryan Kohberger, turning off his device like that and disabling Wi-Fi before the murders was 100% abnormal and a huge red flag.
Yeah, that would make sense if he didn't normally.
Yeah, it might have been 98%.
So when his phone powered back on, what did you notice from that point?
Close enough, I mean.
So one thing to remember in this case is the time to evidence really matters with digital evidence. And so from the time the crime was committed until he was identified, arrested, and then his device was extracted, it was like 45 days or somewhere around that range. And so as we talk to you right now, my phone is rich with data that is right now, but it can't keep everything forever. And so the more time that passes, the less rich the data is. So some things naturally were purging over time. By the time he was arrested and the phone acquired, some of the stuff was already gone. So immediately when the phone power's back on, that's sort of where the FBI, their CAS team would pick up with cell records to say, all right, now his device is hitting this tower in this area. But the device itself wasn't super busy with files that were changing that we can see now. It was just sort of benign nothingness until around 6 in the morning.
And what did you notice around 6 in the morning?
Sure. That's when, and I'm sure you've heard this, but he saved his parents in his device as mother and father. And he also called them that. So he would call mother. If mother didn't answer, he would call father. And then he would call mother, call father, and then start texting them saying, mother, why is father not answering? Or father, where is mother?
I don't care who you are. That's weird. No, is that from the 1800s? When who calls their mother like that, like mother? I've never done that a day in my life. if I did, my mom would look at me like, huh? Like, yeah, I mean, my dad would be like, what the heck are you talking about? I'm your dad. Like, I don't know, like, I guess sarcasm, yeah, definitely. But when I was sarcastic to my mom, I call her by her first name, and we would just laugh. We would giggle because it was when I was older. But yeah, just mother, why is father not answering? Father, why is mother not answering? Wasn't that on American Psycho too? I wonder if he's always done that. Like, I wonder if maybe they should have went back in his text messages back from when he was like younger and seen if like that's what he called them then. You know what I mean? Like, maybe this is something new. Yeah. I wonder if he ever said, yeah. That's true. I wonder if he ever did say that. Yeah, that's true.
So it was constant back and forth. He ended up speaking with mother for over 3 hours the day of the murder, from about 6:13 or 6:31 in the morning through 5:54 p.m.
Did he wait, that's like what, how many hours? That's like 12 hours. What?
About 6:13 or 6:31 in the morning through 5:54 p.m.
So he was talking to his mom when he went back to the crime scene that morning. They said that they thought, he went back there from between 9:12 to 9:32.
So was it one whole 3-hour call, or was it chunks?
See, that's what
the longest one was about an hour and a half, and then there was a 54-minute call.
See, why is it saying 3 hours when didn't we just hear 6? I'm gonna go back again because I thought she said 6 a.m. to 5 and 5 at night. I swear that's what she said.
The day of the murder, from about 6:13 or 6:31 in the morning through 5:54 p.m.
Okay, so she just said 6 in the morning till 5:54 or whatever p.m. I'm confused because then he says 3 hour. I don't know. I'm confused right now.
So was it one whole 3-hour call, or was it chunks?
The longest one was about an hour and a half, and then there was a 54-minute call, and then smaller chunks. But some,
he really
have a 54-minute call. A few minutes would pass, and then another 9-minute call with mother again.
Wonder what they were talking about.
Yeah, when you keep referring to her as mother, it just sounds so weird. Like, I mean, I guess people do that, but I just call my, mom, dad for my parents. And like the fact that he would refer to each other as mother and father, I don't know. I guess that just strikes me as kind of strange.
Bryan, I've been doing this 23 years. I have never seen anything like that in my life. Also, I create test data all the time. At Celebrate, we do CTFs. I create labs for SANS Institute where we train people how to work cases like this. And he had 16 contacts. If I ever gave you a data set with 16 contacts, I would expect you to call me out and be like, what's wrong with this? This person isn't talking to anyone. So
16 contacts in his phone? That's not a lot. That's definitely not a lot.
Stuff like that is also really odd.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense with what we know about him not really having very many friends.
But if you were to take out all the contacts that I have and just leave the people that I talk to, I'd have like 2.
Sort of seemed like kind of a reject at Washington State University. Was he, I mean, it sounds like he talked to his mom and dad a lot. Were there anyone else that he would call, like that you could see regularly?
Not consistently. There were a few calls here and there, like in the months before the crimes, but especially like around the time of the crime and forward, it was almost exclusively communication with his parents.
Did he talk to them every day?
Yes. Like a lot.
Morning and night, as early as 5 a.m. his time.
Every single day, pretty much?
He talked to them every day from what we can see.
Interesting.
So she better be out of bed by 8 in the morning because he's going to be calling.
And I mean, I think I know the answer to this question, but there's no way to know what they were talking about, right? Based on the data that you guys can get from the phone.
No,
and that's, I think, one of the tricky pieces is, for some of the evidence that we don't have because time passed, we do have these call logs. And the one call was 54 minutes leading up until 9 a.m. the day of the murders. And when we said that, someone else correlated it to, well, he was reportedly back at the crime scene around that time. And we didn't know that because we, weren't focused on that piece of the investigation. We weren't aware. But the words that were being spoken would probably speak volumes to everyone as to what was he saying to her as he was, what was he saying to her as he was doing that? Like, as he's driving back towards this crime scene, what were the words? And we just will never have that.
Maybe that's when he was telling her, like, hey, can I come home for Christmas?
While he was still in Washington, were there any other interesting text messages? We obviously saw the one photo that came out, like that kind of creepy selfie photo. I'm assuming that was off the phone, but was there anything else interesting, like in the days and weeks, after the murders, still in Washington?
So on his hard drive, he cleared, and I even said this to Jared this morning. It's so weird to me. He has browser data back through early September, but he chose to clear browser data from October 12th through November 16th. And then on his computer, behavior picked up. It looked like he was back in school and doing typical things. His phone was a little bit different. So his practices seemed to be consistent around the murder on both the hard drive and the phone, but then he changed his methodologies a little bit after.
Yeah, one thing to remember is a normal person's device is busy. You have more than 18 contacts, and so you wake up to a text, you make calls to more than 2 people. He just didn't, and so his device was quiet, like somewhat normally quiet. He had lots of email activity happening, so school stuff and some Yahoo and like Gmail stuff. But it was really quiet device, just in general.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like with my phone, and maybe it's just because like I'm a reporter or whatever, but I'm Googling like all day. I'm searching, like on my phone, if you look to mine, it'd probably be like insane, So he wasn't doing stuff like that?
Well, he cleaned it up too. So there were the gaps of what we consider normal behavior, but then there were also the gaps from his cleanup, which just made it more difficult. So we would see things and wonder, how did that get created? Or what does this file mean? And we recreated every single thing we found. So when we had to sit there and testify and explain to the jury that this is what a user presses, this is what that file looks like, this is how we know. Just to cement in the fact that we were testifying to lack of evidence proving a crime.
And so when you say he cleared or cleaned his device, is that just clearing the browser history essentially?
Somewhat. Yeah, on the phone, clearing the browser history. On the computer, it was a little bit more. I found the presence on November 16th of a file called Eraser, but he was crafty. And usually you could see, okay, Eraser was run and it wiped these files. I couldn't find that level of detail, but I could see that Eraser was run on November 16th. Could it be from a virus scan or some other scan of software he had on his computer? Sure, but with all the other clearing and stuff, it's just unlikely.
And he was taking some measures. You might say that it was just being security conscious user, but using NordVPN as sort of a normal activity so that his IP address wouldn't be easily discovered. Heather said before, he turned off Wi-Fi, just completely off 2 days before the murders happened, but he also used incognito mode consistently. So on Google Chrome, using that extra layer of security that they've built in so that people can't see what you're searching and doing, he was doing that as well.
Wow.
So there's a lot that you're pretty sure he was doing that you weren't able to see.
Absolutely. But thank goodness he made mistakes. So people don't realize if you bookmark something, or Jared can talk a little bit about autofill, but when you're typing things into a browser, the browser wants to remember what you're typing in those boxes so it can render it faster to you the next time you're on different websites. So things like autofill, bookmarks, and downloads aren't done in a private manner. So they go with everything else. And it's not as easy to clean those up on a phone.
My bookmark, yeah, I got a lot.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jared.
No, I was just gonna keep going on that, but go with your question. We'll get there.
What about Wi-Fi networks? Like you mentioned, he turned his Wi-Fi off. I think a couple days before the murders. But could you see which ones he was connecting to before or after?
There's a record of just a few. I mean, I think it was maybe,
WSU, Washington State University.
Yeah, maybe 5 Wi-Fi networks that were still saved in his device that he had connected to, which is low. I think normally, devices would have a ton. I have a ton of Wi-Fi that I've connected to over time, and they just persist.
I wonder if he had Wi-Fi at his apartment. I would think so, but
he had just a few, and it wasn't anything super notable from what we could see.
Was there anything that stood out, like in relation? A lot of people have been talking about the Mad Greek restaurant where one of the victims worked. Was that in his phone?
It was in the Google Maps cache, which means if you open Google Maps and you search for nearby restaurants, or if you typed in Mad Greek, it was physically on his phone. He could see it, but it doesn't show that he connected to the Wi-Fi. It just shows that he had interest in that restaurant.
yeah.
And sadly, there wasn't a timestamp associated with it. It was in a passive file, a passive assist associated to Google Maps.
Okay. And so when he
So my next question would have been like, did he physically hit the go button on, like when you go to Google Maps, you put in the address and then it'll say like, it'll give you options on like which route is fastest or, which route, there are like a few different routes to the restaurant and you have to hit the green go. I wonder if he hit the green go on his phone, like if he physically was like driving, you know what I mean? Like with the GPS there, or if he had just searched for it on maps, saw the location of it, and then got out of his maps, if that makes sense.
He goes back to, and let me know if I'm leaving anything out that's important, but when he goes back to Pennsylvania for a Christmas break, staying with his parents, was there anything significant that he was doing then?
Yeah, I think it got a little weirder. Well, we have more visibility into what he was doing then, I guess is the better way to say it. I think when he was arrested, and Heather has said this before, maybe he had a cleanup process that he wasn't able to do because all of a sudden he was arrested. But we had a good couple weeks there of, I would say, his normal activity. And it was very abnormal, but maybe his normal. And so it was still consistently like lots of communication via email, almost no texting and calling them because he's now with mother and father, right? So the people he talks to, he can just speak to them in person. But he had some specific searches and activity around serial killers. What was
Tell him specifically about the website and what he did on Christmas night. I think that behavior is wild.
Yeah. So on Christmas night of 22, just a few days before his arrest, at the very last few minutes of the day and into the early morning hours of the 26th, he went to a website that is serial killer timelines. It's this really rudimentary looking website that just has a list of people, and everything you click, it sort of loads the biography of that person. And
I'm going to it.
He seemingly just went down the list, just clicking and reading. But a lot of these clicks were actually downloading files to his downloads directory, which he was unaware of, it seems. And so we ended up with this long list of serial killer downloaded PDFs from essentially Christmas night. And one of the ones that stood out was Danny Rawling. And that one he actually downloaded twice, in the same hour or two of looking.
And he looked him up in November as well, but after the murders in November.
And this was on Christmas night?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just
a lot of the stuff that you see on his devices, you kind of excuse it because of his major, but this doesn't qualify.
And he was also not doing well in school anymore. As of December 15th, he had issues with professors and he was not turning in any work or doing grades. So for him to go from not doing any work to, I have to do all this serial killer research on Christmas night just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. What was the paranoia?
Oh yeah, on 12/29, he searched for psychopath paranoia. Those exact words, serial killer and wiretapping. So we think he was becoming more paranoid. Jared found some cool stuff that he was looking at regarding the car and possibly getting rid of this car.
Yeah, so on the 29th, it seemed like he was sort of mentally imploding, maybe feeling some pressure somehow from law enforcement. But at 9:02 in the morning, he searched wiretap and then like federal wiretap, so a couple different ways of looking for wiretapping. At 9:08 a.m., he read a New York Times article. The interesting part of this is in this article, they specifically say the police are still looking for, and they describe his car perfectly. And so that obviously I think was a pressure point, because if not for the sheath, at least in that initial phase, the car was the standout other item to look for. At 9:09 a.m., so just a minute later, he read an Idaho homicides update page from out there somewhere. Right after that, he looks for auto detailing shops around where he lived in Pennsylvania. So they're looking for the car. The update about what's going on. I need to get my car cleaned. And then a few minutes later, he's shopping to buy a new car, a used car, but a new used car to him. Different makes and models, certainly not Hyundais, not Elantras, and not white.
Wow. And this is all.
I wonder what kind of car he was looking up. He can't afford a car. He can't even afford to go to school. I mean, really, like, let him get a car. His parents couldn't get him another car. Was he going to say, Dad, I need to get another car because I committed a quadruple homicide and they got me flying away in this one?
Coming directly from his computer.
That was all from his cell phone.
His cell phone. So do you think he was doing things like this, searching things like this all along, but he was just doing a better job wiping the phone? And then, like you said, he just kind of hadn't had a chance yet at the end. And that's why you're only seeing this from that last sort of segment.
Yeah. And, we've talked, obviously, like we work together, live together. So we talk about this stuff a lot. And the browser gap on the PC that is much more extensive than what we found on the phone is annoying to me. And Jared said maybe he did more research about the victims and his planning and all the things on the PC. And that's why he cleaned it from there. So we don't know. We wonder if that would have given the families more answers on the why, the connections, any type of stalking that happened, but we don't know.
So did you ever find any kind of connection to any of the victims?
The Google Maps search for Mad Greek was sort of the only thing. Other than that, and that's not totally true. Post crimes, they're all over the place. I mean, just actively searching. We're able to look for just their names, first name, last name, and that type of thing. And you get hits all over his device. Lots of Reddit. He's participating in Reddit posts or looking at them. Watching YouTube videos about the Idaho murders. I mean,
why have I never known? I never thought about that before. Oh, good grief. That's weird. I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like him watching people's YouTube videos, listening to people. Oh my, I hope he wasn't watching any of mine.
He was very much tracking his own crime. I mean, very active.
I would like to know though who he was watching, because what if he was watching some of them crazy trash channels? I'm sorry, they're out there. They're in every genre. They're out there, and they're all going, yeah, guys. Jack DeCore did this. It was Kaylee's boyfriend, or even better, with the psychic lady. Bryan Kohberger is probably laughing his ass off when he's hearing this Ashley Gilliard saying that, it was a lesbian love triangle gone wrong.
He had numerous downloads of like the PDF flyer that the Moscow police released. Like he found it, downloaded it, and it was in his downloads folder.
He Googled himself a lot.
Why would he need that?
Constantly.
Really?
He Googled himself?
Do you think that when you mentioned Reddit, do you think he was just reading threads, or do you think he was participating?
Smiling.
I'm not totally sure. So a lot of the And again, sort of the sources of data, a lot of the Reddit artifacts that we're able to see were actually coming in through his emails. So something that I don't think was paying as much attention to cleaning up. He had posted in a couple different threads, but like one was specifically ex-cons and one was something about prisons, asking for volunteers for something. I'm not sure what, but it doesn't seem to have been school sponsored. And there were people emailing him like right at the very end of December saying,
we
hey,
need to find those.
Still looking for volunteers for this thing. So he was busy on Reddit. There was lots of Reddit, visibility in the artifacts that we saw, but I don't have anything.
What subreddits was he in? Prisons, and what was the other one? I'll be searching these. I'm gonna go all the way back. Hold on. Let me go back a little bit.
There were people emailing him like right at the very end of December saying, hey, are you still looking for volunteers for this thing? So he was busy on Reddit. There was lots of Reddit, visibility in the artifacts that we saw, but I don't have anything crystal clear of him participating and commenting necessarily on the murders themselves.
Yeah, because we had reported that he was doing like surveys and stuff and trying to find like, criminals, people who are out of prison, like to get in their mind sort of thing. But I'd always just sort of wondered if he was like actively engaging in some of the comments.
Oh yeah, Ashley, I remember that off of the Dateline.
But I guess we still don't know.
No, it's not clear.
He was definitely interested in reading all he could about it, though.
Yeah.
Was there anything, like you mentioned YouTube, I don't know if you can remember, were there any like particular channels or shows or websites that he would go to frequently to keep track?
We found the knife one, right?
Yeah, there was one YouTube video about the K-bar knife that was post-crime though. Lots of true crime type of, so a lot of this stuff was from screenshots. Like you could see a picture where he just had a video playing, read the bar at the bottom. The next thing, proposed to him to watch was up top. But it was a lot of like serial killer and true crime type of content.
What about like pornography? Was there anything in that department?
This is where autofill got him.
Yeah, it's super weird. So there's evidence of him viewing pornography.
No, nothing wrong with that.
Again,
I guess
the gap in time around the murders is pretty clean. There's not really much there of anything. But later, there's evidence of him looking at pornography websites. But then the autofill kind of captured some of his search terms specific to pornography. So what that means is he would go to a website and use the text box to type whatever he needed to type to search for. And then that website was, unfortunately for him, saving that term into an autofill category that is not as easy to clear. So
So he used the regular internet and not incognito mode for his pornography searches?
We can't necessarily put a date and timestamp on when he did these things. We did see what was weirdly consistent for non-consensual sex acts that he was searching for. So they're really nasty terms. So I clean it up a little bit. Involving rape, drugged.
This is cleaned up.
Sleeping and voyeurism.
You can't tell me he was not at that house prior to this crime looking in those back windows from the top of that freaking parking lot. This started, I believe, with voyeurism with him. I don't know if it started in PA or if it started when he went out to Washington, but I mean, that's sanity. I'm going to go back and listen to that again.
Clean it up a little bit. Involving rape, drugged, sleeping, and voyeurism.
And so he was Googling those terms?
Yeah, like that was the thing he typed into the search box. Is literally what this artifact is. He typed it. So, I mean, and I ain't shaming nobody's kink over here, but I am a little bit with him because the stuff that he is searching is stuff that
kind of happened. The girls were sleeping, you know, they were drunk. So that could follow in, I guess, to drug or drunk. But, man, he's a sick individual.
Words and then search.
And was this around Christmas time?
Like, it's different if you're, you know, doing your thing, getting on your little site or whatever. But he's like in there. He's like, let me go to the search bar.
I'm not sure. The timing of them isn't clear. It's just the words are saved.
So usually what we would do is take that artifact and then tie it to the history. But he cleared that piece for us. So we couldn't, that was our missing piece of the puzzle.
Tammy, you're actually right. Because remember his friend, he stole from his friend's dad, I mean. He stole like his coin collection and something else. And the guy's dad was like, I know that it was Bryan. Like he knew it was him, right? And that's probably where it started.
So we would have all these different things and we couldn't put the puzzle together completely because he had made our jobs difficult. Not impossible, but difficult.
How would you rank him, I mean, in terms of being good at clearing his history? Because in some way, I mean, like I think about him leaving the knife sheath behind and still all the cell phone records they were able to keep. I mean, he was kind of sloppy in a lot of ways for this criminology PhD. I mean, was it similar with the way he was clearing the history? Was he good at it, or?
I would say that the job was tough, but I don't want to give him credit. The time passed. If he was identified and arrested the day of the murders, we could have told you so many things that we can't tell you 45 days later. So a little bit of credit to him in that he prepared to kill people and then he cleaned up after the fact. But he wasn't in any way perfect. And there's plenty of stories to still be told. Man, my mouth is dry.
His mistakes painted a clear enough picture on his intentions to murder.
Yeah. So had there been a trial, would both of you have gone in to testify?
Yes.
That was the plan?
Yes.
And what would you have said? I mean, obviously you would have had all this evidence and the things you found, but do you think you would have been able to tell a story with it?
So our goal and what we started doing when I said we recreated all that data, we had the exact phone that Bryan Kohberger has, like same network carrier, everything. I couldn't believe it. It was the perfect alignment of test data. So what I intended to do was essentially show, if you press this button, this is what the file looks like, and this is how I know. And this is the training I have. And this is why you can trust me to tell you, these are the exact things he did to try to remain undetected, to clear his digital footprint. So we were going to try to have the lack of data be the loudest voice in his truth.
Yeah, I think the ability to just show up and say that on this night, he was awake and physically pressed the button to turn off his phone. And then by the time he turned it back on, these 4 kids have been murdered. That one thing that we were super sure of means that he wasn't at home. He wasn't asleep. He wasn't doing a million other things. He was specifically awake in the middle of the night when this happened. And that one piece, I think, tells a big story.
And this whole stargazing alibi, I guess, doesn't.
That was just dumb. I had to write in a report, a phone can't take a picture while it's powered down. But yeah, that was not the case at all. There wasn't.
I would turn your phone off to go stargazing, you know?
He did that a couple times. He did have pictures of going out, watching a sunset, taking pictures of the moon. That was a thing, but not this night.
Were there any?
I bet he did that in preparation for this, right? So that he could use this, like he could use that as an alibi if he wanted to, but he couldn't because no one could corroborate it. He didn't know that he had to have somebody in the state of Idaho. Like in Idaho, you have to have a corroborating witness to your alibi.
Any other
or you can't use it
pictures on his phone that just you remember that just sort of were interesting to you?
Yeah, he took a lot of selfies. And what's interesting is he didn't do anything with them. It was like he was documenting himself for himself. So he would take his shirt off and do different poses in mirrors, flexing his muscles, like try to get a profile picture of himself. Very much like how, what's the actor's name in American Psycho? Christian Bale, how much he loved himself and how pristine and clean and perfect he always thought he was. That's what it reminded me of. Just admiring himself.
So Bryan Kohberger, I thank you for blessing us with not showing us those pictures, because I would die. I mean, I'm sorry to use that word, but I do not want to see him flexing in no mirror. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
In different positions.
I mean, I know
a selfie.
Everybody takes selfies of their selfie, you know what I mean? Like, and things of that nature, but like, just knowing he did it, I don't know.
With your shirt off is not a big deal. Normally something else happens with that picture. It gets texted, emailed, posted, something. Just nothing. It was just like recording himself.
Wow, that's super creepy. What
I can't say anything. My phone's full of recordings of myself. I always record these like videos that I'm going to post to TikTok, and then I never post them to TikTok. Don't look at my phone, y'all. I'm going to have to show you guys in my phone one of these days. You guys are going to be like, call the police. No, I'm just kidding. No, the things that I search, though, I do search some weird stuff for, like from the channel.
About would he send his mother and father any photos? Were you able to tell?
Yeah, not selfies of like that, but he did text his parents pictures.
Yeah, he communicated with them, it seemed, the content of almost every day of his life. So to take a picture of what he saw outside, it was snowing, it was raining, he was at this park, like they received those pictures. That was normal.
And he was still doing his selfies in December in Pennsylvania, because there's one, he took two of himself and one mother is sitting in the background over his shoulder.
It's interesting how much he talked to them. I was just thinking about this yesterday, because when I was reading all these new police reports from Idaho State Police, like all the complaints from Washington.
Not the nude or those selfies, but I want to see the pictures of one with his mom in the background.
State University fellow students, professors. I mean, there are so many that were complaining about this guy, and people, I mean, women even crying like that they were so freaked out by him. It wasn't the same level in Pennsylvania. Like, there were people that were creeped out by him, but not like that. Like, people he worked with didn't say that when he was in school there. So I kind of have wondered, like, if he was spiraling because he was away from his parents, like that was his only sort of support system, which it kind of sounds like they were. I was just because there's such a difference in what we've heard from people we interviewed in Pennsylvania versus in Washington. Like, yeah, he was creepy in Pennsylvania, but not like, I mean, he kind of like turned into a monster at Washington State University,
Yeah, I think we heard or read that a professor called him a predator and said that she knew he would become a predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from what you just said, the one thing that from what we worked on, we could definitely validate is the support system. It seemed like he could not function without that connection.
We still need to write WSU, by the way, and ask them how. I'm going to put a whole list of stuff together that he did wrong in the short little bit of time that he was there, and I'm going to say, why'd you keep him so long? Straight answer. Don't tell me you can't answer the question either. I don't want that.
Yeah. And you have to wonder what that conversation.
That's what we will end up getting back. No comment.
Right after. I mean, that's crazy. So were you what were you sort of preparing for with the trial? Like, were you going to have to be on the stand for days? I mean, was this sort of like weighing on you? Were you ready to go?
It was weighing on me. We have a million things going on, like day jobs. This was never our full-time job. We were brought in to help the FBI because they knew me from SANS Institute, where I train. So it was kind of sure, we're going to help you because we care. And I love learning from investigations too. So we were just assisting the FBI. It was never a full-time thing. So we got subpoenaed for, hey, the trial's going to be August through November. We'll let you know when. So we had no idea. We're still trying to book our work travel and daily lives, knowing this was going to pop up. But I also think testifying to the lack of evidence versus saying, I found this exact file, look at this screenshot that says I'm going to go commit this heinous crime. was mentally challenging for me.
Yeah, so Heather had reached out to the FBI and we talked about doing like a mock trial to prepare, just to understand what it might look like for prosecution, for defense. But the information that we found, like some of the things, it was unknown artifacts until this case. So here's a log file. It has a timestamp that's pertinent. What is this file even doing? And so I think the complexity of that, because it's not just like, oh, well, the Celebrate software parsed it and put it on the screen and anybody can just double click and see what it is. It was almost the opposite of that. It was almost all unknown artifacts. And so that would have been a little difficult, but okay, because we did the testing to validate it.
What did you think when you found out there was the plea deal? Did you just find out like everybody else? Like,
thank goodness I ain't got to go down there.
I think we heard they reached out to us and said that I believe that he may be taking a plea, but we have to wait for sentencing before, because we were under the gag order. We couldn't say anything.
When did they reach out to these guys? Because they didn't tell any of the family members till the Friday before. If we find out they found out before the families, I mean,
or do anything,
ask them.
So
Bryan.
We heard from the investigative team that was going to happen. And this is where Jared has law enforcement background. For me personally, sad for the families because they wouldn't be able to hear things, but also relieved for the families because the stuff they would hear would probably cause even more trauma. But knowing for ourselves, the burden of helping find him guilty wasn't on us anymore. Like he was kind of doing that himself. But I do wish, I knew he wouldn't. I wish during the sentencing that he would have said why, but everyone wishes that.
Yeah, I'm sure even just for your own personal curiosity, considering you had to like go through his phone and try to solve this puzzle, it would have been probably.
I just can't imagine. I don't know. Now that we've talked a little bit with Olivia, and we plan to go visit the families and just let them ask us questions and talk to us and show that we did this for them. So we want them to have as much truth as possible. But just thinking of your 21-year-old, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I can't imagine what they feel.
And Bryan, we were like this much of this case. You know, this phone thing and some stuff on a computer. The investigative teams had mountains of data and sources and interviews and things to work through. So we would have been a blip on the radar in this trial, but I think we would have had a few important things to say.
Do you think his defense in connection to the stuff that you found would have just been like, oh, he's a criminology PhD student. Of course he's into serial killers. Of course he would be looking at the murder that happened right in his backyard. I'm guessing that's probably what Ann Taylor would have come back with.
So that was, I think, going to be very challenging because I think the prosecution would have wanted to put forth almost all of these details, and the defense would have not wanted the jury to hear them because of the excuse of his studies. So I'm actually not sure how it would have played out. I think that we could have painted a picture of the reality of what he was doing and when and how it wasn't aligned with his studies, but it would have been a court argument for the judge to decide.
Obviously you were very, not that you're scientists, but kind of you are, the way you go at it, it's very like black and white, but has this been emotional for you guys at all? I'm just thinking too, like we've been covering it, but you kind of been working behind the scenes in secret. No one even knew you were doing this. Has it been like hard?
More so now that we read things and we're like, oh, wow. So we didn't know that he went back to the scene of the crime when we talked about those call logs. We didn't know that. We would have found that out in the trial as well. So seeing the things get pieced together and what the entire investigative team does makes it seem more real. Because when we went into this, we wanted to just look at the data, try to not have emotional ties to it. We didn't watch anything in the media. We didn't watch Dateline. We didn't talk to anyone. So we tried to just let the data tell us the truth.
Yeah, it might sound cold, but we were insulated from the details. And so all of the things that have everyone so emotional and spun up about everything, people that have nothing to do with this case, we weren't encountering those feelings because we just avoided it. So we stayed focused on the one thing that we had in front of us and didn't pay attention to the noise.
So you didn't get to see any of the other details. It was literally just, you were just focused on what you could find in the laptop and the phone.
And then guidance from prosecution and FBI saying, hey, can you all look for this thing now? Can you look for this thing now? So they would give us the guidance on what they needed, and we would dive deep and give it right back.
Yeah, you could ask us a question that you're super sure of right now, and I would say, I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah. Wow.
But after the fact now, getting to talk like with one member of one of the families, like that is where we realize now, okay, we might be able to say one thing that answers a question or that makes these people cope or feel better. So we'll do that.
Yeah. What did that feel like talking to Olivia? Because I'm assuming it was kind of like a job, and then it sort of transfers into like, oh, these are real.
Yeah. Well, when she reached out, and I told her this, when she reached out, I thought it was fake. I'm like, someone's being nasty. This is someone on social media that found us and just wants to pretend to be her. But then she gave her phone number and we went back and forth. And initially all they wanted was potentially just a Zoom call to talk to us. And Jared pointed out there's so much emotion and then people trying to talk over each other on Zoom. It's not as, I don't know, a soft landing as being in person.
Yeah, you can never beat being in person. Is there anything else I left out, like that comes to mind, that you found on the phone or the computer, or anything else? Any other little nugget?
So if you asked us both to do nothing else but work on this one phone, we could go a year and still not look at every file.
Yeah.
Like it's such an immense amount of data that comes out of cell phones. There were some emails that I'm not sure we talked about. Heather alluded to an email from a professor where she was essentially trying to set up a meeting with him because he had some raised voices encounter with another professor in the office. The rest of that story is a few days later, they sent another email terminating him from his TA, his teacher's assistant position for the spring semester. He had written back a sort of note trying to appeal it and was saying, I won't have health insurance. I don't have money for tuition. So this getting fired from the TA position was going to be a big deal that he wasn't going to be able to return for school. Trying to think, the only other email I think that really stood out was the Reddit officially suspending his account on the 30th for like violating their rules, but it was the day of his arrest. It was like the news popped and Reddit was like, let's go find this guy and basically
You think that's what it was?
That's what it seemed. It was the 30th. So either he posted something that I didn't see.
Either that or something in that cons channel.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I'm not sure, but there's an email from Reddit saying this account is suspended.
I'm still so curious if he was like actively, there was that whole Papa Roger thing. I don't know if you guys heard about that the police said wasn't.
And we didn't find anything on Papa Roger, but also he cleaned up well. And on an Android, if you want to delete an app or delete social media, you can leave the app installed and erase all user data. And that's super easy to do. And it seems like that's what he had done. But again, the investigators can get search warrants and go to Instagram and Reddit and Facebook and get warrant return data that Jared and I didn't have access to. We weren't asked to look at that.
Yeah. Well, Jared, Heather, thank you both so much for talking with me. And thank you for all.
Oh, that's the end of the interview. If I can get the thing off of mute. And it's, I'm glad that your little ones started kindergarten, Ash. Hopefully, tell the other little kids to keep the germs to themselves. I was always that kid that came home like first week of school and I just would be sick. And it wasn't because of me. It was because I had a little immune system, you know? Actually, yeah, I didn't know I was muted, Ashley. That's okay. I said something right before that, but I can't remember it. And I wasn't muted the whole time and I muted myself once. And then that's whenever I say something, you guys don't hear me. But I like Olivia too. I think Olivia, she's something else. So I was watching, there's like this channel that's, I forget what it's called. And I'm like subscribed to. It's one of those channels that like, they'll count down like the 10 most, whatever, you know, like 10 craziest sea creatures, or I don't know. I watch weird stuff. Well, her sister made it on there. It was like, I forget what it was, like 10 greatest courtroom showdowns or something like that. I don't know. And it had her like the saying that she said on the cover of it when she told when Christy came up and said Aubrey had something to say to him, and you know, you might have got all A's in school, but you're going to be getting D's in prison. And they had that on like the cover of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't had a chance to watch it, but I thought it was pretty funny that it's on a channel that has millions of followers, like millions and millions and millions. So I know the germs. Ooh, yeah. After coming home from school, that's you guys. Yeah, it's crazy. Little germy kids probably chased me around the school playground or something, touch me, like wiping their snot and then touching me. Hey, Shelly, I can see it now. I can see it now. We did have one kid though. I remember he was like, I feel bad for him now. I mean, but he just was not like the cleanliness kid in the world. And we were playing basketball one day, and I remember he like hit me with his fingernail. And it cut me. And my mom was like, oh, we got to make sure that's cleaned out. Like she came to the school, like the nurse called her, like, come get your kid. Oh, okay. So the Gonzalez's requested a Zoom call with them, I believe. I believe Olivia kind of reached out, and then that's how I kind of got the ball rolling. So. Catherine, that's funny. The dog's like, who are you? My dogs are actually passed out right now. They're sleeping like angels. Oh, and my table came today. My little seating table that I showed you guys. It was supposed to come September the 2nd, and it came today. I forgot about it. So I'm gonna go out there and pretend to put it together. That way Vincent will put it together. That's how we work in this house. I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build this. And then I get the parts out. I don't even get to building it. I just get the parts out, and I'm like, this is too hard. And then he'll come over and help. He'll do it. He might be doing it now. Thought I heard him. But thank you guys for being here. I may come back tonight. I'm not sure yet. If I don't, I'll make sure that I put it on the community tab. Yeah, Sammy, I did. I think I actually have like a scar. I can't remember if it was like my upper or lower lip. I think it was my lower. I'm pretty sure I still have the scar. It was like one of the sides. I don't know. But yeah. That would be me, Ashley. I can't put together nothing. I don't know if it's my vision. I don't think it's my vision. Because it was before the vision. I tried to put an entertainment center together for my mom. I said, if I get this together, I'll never date another man in my life. And I didn't get it together. And I called my friend Nate, and I told him if he told anybody that I didn't put that together, that I would hurt him. I was like, this is all between me and you and mom. So, but thank you guys for being here. If you guys don't mind, on the way out, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to share the video out, that really helps also. I will see you guys later on. If I don't see you guys tonight, I'll see you guys tomorrow during the day sometime. So have a wonderful evening or have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how.